delighted to be joined by a very special guest today from our fantastic lineup of speakers and guests at the Counter UAS Technology USA conference, which will be taking place between November the 30th and December the 2nd of this year in Washington, D.C. Our special guest is none other than one of the chairs for our conference, and it is retired Lieutenant General Sean Gainey, who was the former director for the Joint Counter UAS office, and he's currently the CEO of Gainey Global Solutions. So welcome, Sean. It's a pleasure to have you here with us. I guess it would be fantastic if you just could start with telling us a little bit about yourself, your previous role, and what you're currently up to in the counter UAS space.
Yeah, well, thanks, Victoria, and glad to be here. As you know, counter UAS is one of my passions, and it will be as I move forward. Ever since I took on the Joint Counter UAS Office Director role in navigating this complex space and watching drone warfare evolve over the past several years, it's created a passion for me. So, you know, as the previous director of the Joint Counter UAS Office, I was in that role for about 4 years, really dissecting the drone problem and working with industry to create solutions and innovative solutions to get after that problem set. After that, I moved to as the commander of Space and Missile Defense Command. And, you know, even though that command had a larger focus, and really we started focusing on not only homeland defense, but at large, the drone problem still was prevalent across the entire space. And as I look at the way warfare is progressing today, I would argue that the drone elevation in the way it has come on board and has quickly start redefining the way we fight in modern warfare. Even as the commander of Space and Missile Defense Command, I had to apportion focus to that area. So after retiring, because of my passion for this area and really watching the drone space, I wouldn't say from inception, but in the early stages, and watching to how it's got what my interest has stayed. And so in my role as, you know, as the owner of Gainey Global Solutions, I work with, you know, companies and understanding not just the drone problem warfare, but the overarching missile defense problem set and how to create solutions to get after these complex problems.
Fascinating. Well, I mean, we're delighted to have you on board. You'll definitely be a very, very valuable perspective to add to the conference. So on that note, I guess my next question would be, how do you assess the current drone threat landscape and what challenges are driving today's counter UAS priorities, in your opinion?
Yeah, complex problem set. So whenever you can take a problem set, make it complex, then inject mass with the intent to outpace our capabilities and overwhelm our operators that are on the battlefield or manning systems in a country, city area. Countries are shifting to drones to increase their offensive strike magazine depth at a relatively low cost. So it's obviously appealing to them to be able to do this. And they're seeing success by utilizing this capability. So if you're seeing success, it opens the market because the barrier for entry is lower because, you know, lower cost to get a relatively precision type capability and be able to defeat enemy defensive in some cases. So, you know, as when I was the director of Joint Counter UAS Office, I was excited at that time. I was excited to get capability out there that could defeat the threat because we were at the inception of the problem set. And so, you know, we were using various capabilities and, you know, we were excited when we were getting capabilities that was defeating the threat. But now as the threat has started to evolve and become more complex, you now have to add a different calculus. You can no longer just leverage the current capabilities that you have. Now we're starting to look at how do we take those capabilities and start getting after the complexity and getting after the mass while reducing the burden on the operator. And that's why even then, and even now, it starts with the command and control system. And to me, that is the critical point moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely a threat that has evolved quite a lot over the past few years. So, on that same train of thought, what do you think are some of the emerging technologies or approaches that you believe will have the greatest impact on detecting, tracking, and defeating UAS threats in the coming years?
Yeah, so I'll pick up where I left off with command and control. So, you know, being at command and control is so pivotal and important. And the reason I say that is because of the threat and the complexity of the threat, you're not just going to have one system that's going to be able to defeat the range of the threats. So you have to be able, from an open architecture perspective, bring in several different threats and layer in those threats. And that starts with the command control system. And when I look at where we are today and how we progress in the future, it's now taking the ability of having that open architecture capability, laying in several different threats and injecting the advancements of artificial intelligence to be able to decipher and weapons pair. And what I mean by weapons pair, take the appropriate effector or sensor and then be able to pass that automatically through the operator to whatever target you're trying to defeat. And so with that C2 AI enabled C2 architecture, the capabilities that to get after what I highlighted as complexity and mass, you have to start being able to develop low cost, because majority of the problem set now has shifted from less of let's defeat the threat to now more how can you do it from a cost informed perspective. Now there's still some complexities out there we're still working to get after, but and so that's why is if you're in the kinetic space, the ability to do that at low cost is generating a lot of interest. I know within the U.S. and I'm sure around the globe of how can you defeat these at low cost with a type of different effector. And also, how do you inject some of the emerging technologies that are coming on board? When I was at the Joint Counter U.S. offices, wanted, with an eye on the future capabilities and where we knew the threat was going to go, we were looking at the technologies that could address that. And when I first started, it was things like directed energy, laser technology that's, now coming to more maturation, some of the high powered microwave capability that would give you some better capability against swarming threats. And then, from a bullet type capability, a smart bullet that would help you give you some of those capabilities. So AI enabled architecture, layered defense, and integration of some of those exquisite capabilities like a low cost interceptor, leveraging innovation to get there, directed energy, again, cost curve, and help you get around some of the issues of the threats and them trying to fly, whether they're trying to fly dark drones or evade the EW or RF type systems. And then high powered microwave type technology, I think are promising if we can get them to maturation to be able to integrate into the layered architecture to continue getting after this threat.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess with the threat evolving so rapidly and, the response to the threat as well, I guess collaboration is probably going to be quite key. So why do you think a conference like Counter UAS Technology USA is such an important forum for the community? And what are you most looking forward to hearing from our attendees and discussing with them this year?
Yeah, I always found that the conferences, and that's why whatever capacity I was serving in, whether it was a JCO or commander of Space and Missile Defense Command, I always wanted to be part of as many as I could and speak at many of the events as I could, because to me, the importance of, as you highlighted, the collaboration of bringing everyone together in different spaces, coming together, and what you would often find is that, you know, although everybody was working on different type of thing. There was a significant interest in potentially how could, we partner together, because what I found in this space, everybody that's really truly in this space is very passionate about getting to a solution, and are willing to work together if necessary to do that. And so these type of conferences, and it's not always the briefings. The briefings normally set the stage, provide information that people are looking for, but it's the side collaborations, the side conversations that really moves the ball forward in the counter UAS space, because they link to future discussions and future solutions moving forward. So I think the conference are a great opportunity. I think this conference and the venue and the location provides a great opportunity for great collaboration and potential partnerships moving forward.
Well, thank you very much for that. Thank you. Really, really appreciate your comprehensive answers. It should be a great show. I'm very much looking forward to it. We've got a lot of new perspectives this year, a lot of new panel discussions, which I think, speaks a little bit to what you were just mentioning there. A lot of those more informal conversations tend to happen there during the Q&A. And yeah, we have a great range of speakers from a lot of different agencies across the US, but also internationally, and industry partners too. So it should be a fantastic conversation. I'm very much looking forward to it, and I look forward to seeing you there in November. Thank you very much, Sean.
Thanks, Victoria. I'm excited for it. Thank you.